paints your noose like an old man. He's got you thinking about your death and you are frightened.
Hi to everyone, I'm Ada from PoisonedRock, and today we have the honor to have with us Mark from Misery Index. Hi Mark, first of all, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, a tough period, but it's fine. Start straight with the first questions. Of course, it's the most common one, and it's like speak a little about Misery Index in a short quote, in some quotes, and introduce, of course, the other members of the band.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, I'm Mark Kloeppel. I play guitar and do vocals for Misery Index alongside Jason Netherton, um, formerly of like Dying Fetus fame, and
Yeah.
fame. Adam Jarvis, who also plays drums in Pig Destroyer and Scour, which I'm also in, and our lead guitar player Darren Morris. We Misery Index just recently inked a deal with Century Media, so our next album will be coming out with them, and we are diligently working on that album right now.
That sounds amazing. Your band at the beginning had several changes of lineup. This
Yeah.
brought new influences to what today is the sound of Misery Index.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the changing of this lineup brought a new sound on the.
Oh yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah?
I mean, yeah, it's a different band. Like when it first started, it was Jason, Mike Harrison, who had kind of been on the sidelines of the Dying Fetus crew for a while,
Sure.
and then Kevin Talley, who played on the early Dying Fetus records,
Yeah.
and they formed a more like Napalm Deathy kind of like Napalm Death meets Terrorizer kind of funky.
We interviewed Terrorizer. We
Yeah.
interviewed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee Harrison.
Yeah, big influence, obviously. And then, Jason was kind of like the linchpin on everything, and people came and went, and Adam and I joined like around 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like starting with Discordia and then Traders, you definitely hear like a little bit more like atmosphere,
Sure.
a slight maybe move away from. I mean a very slight move away from like grindcore, and I'd say that was like intentional because what we were seeing is like we have friends obviously in like in other grind bands, you know what I mean? Like so you see like, well I don't want to name any names really, but we just kind of saw that as sort of being limiting. To go strictly like this like grind kind of thing because. I feel like you start treading the same ground very quickly, and it's hard. It's very challenging, and I have some friends and some bands that are like that are tremendously successful, but the parameters are so confined that like it's hard to make new original stuff in that vein. And if you aren't doing exactly that genius level work, like you're basically just writing the same song over and over, and so it was kind of mandatory that we expand our sound a bit and grow, and and as musicians you want to do that, you want to do a little bit of exploration, but we don't try to take it so far outside of the box that like old fans won't appreciate it, and new fans will hopefully
but the whole fan I think that will appreciate it too with the time because.
Yeah. Sure. And like we continue refining what we're doing, and we did replace our lead guitar player Sparky with Darren Morris way back, I guess now in like 2010.
Yeah.
Right after Heirs to Thievery came out, Darren joined the band as our new lead guitar player, and he's actually been the longest running lead guitar player at this.
So, as a question that maybe we can say is really common at I don't know if there is a meaning behind that. The name of Misery Index. Which is the meaning? If it has some meaning.
It's an ASIC album. It's a homage. It's a homage to that, you know, and it's obviously a dual meaning. You know? There's like a homage to that, like stylistically speaking, and then of course it's the you know, economic indicator of how miserable people are. So you know, our lyrics sort of revolve around you know, the treatment of the worker and human rights and like that. So and we're always kind of on like, you know, dealing with the negative parts of that and like how to address that with like a sense of hopefulness. And yeah, that's what the band name essentially means.
Sure. How much the punk hardcore and grindcore scene influenced your conception of death metal?
Well, yeah, you know, in death metal, you like, I think it's more or less the lyrical content.
Yeah.
You know, in death metal and other kinds of metal, there's a lot of fantasy orientation,
Sure.
like storytelling, and you know, maybe some like embracing the abject kind of thing, with gore and other types of ways to express that. But in Misery Index, we do the thing that death metal does, where we embrace the abject, you know.
Yeah.
But we do it in a way that is rooted in you know, modern you know, socio-political states.
That's great.
And the daily lived experience in that view. So that's more or less more aligned with like punk and hardcore.
Yeah.
So in that way, we're definitely like a 50-50 blend of that approach, and that's honestly just like our collective taste. It's just what we like. I don't really like Dungeons and Dragons, you know, type of lyrics, and but you know, more power to those, you know, bands that do that type of stuff.
I know. Very well.
I appreciate the total gore lyrics, but I wouldn't write them myself, you know, like chopping people's heads off. Seems kind of,
yes, I mean, you released like 6 albums, which in your opinion, is the album that could explain mostly the sound of Misery Index?
Like in our album?
Yeah, yes.
Well, I mean, they all have a little something going on. I think between that's hard. I mean, I think Traders is pretty complete as far as all the sounds that we do, and also the last album, Rituals of Power. Those two albums are kind of similar in that regard, where it's a pretty well-rounded, round-robin kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
With all the songs and the songwriting itself.
Yeah.
But it has like those atmospheric sort of parts, the punk part, grindish kind of stuff, all seamlessly blended together, and into like, you know, tight single-ish sort of packages with choruses and things like that. I think like those two albums do that. Killing Gods obviously like goes off on a tangent. You know, takes you into a whole kind of like world of darkness there. But that's a bit of a sojourn into something else. But
yeah, and songwriting, there is a specific topic that you speak about it, or you just wrote what comes to your like inspiration?
I mean, mainly, you know, we take like a critical look at like social aspects of daily life.
Yeah.
And we try to apply some maybe some broader theories about what's going on to that, and make sure we're not like weeding out our own like personal expression there, where we can be like frustrated with something or angry about something, and we make sure we make the opinion known while supporting it with, you know, good supporting evidence. and
Yeah, for
make
sure.
sure that's rich. But like at the end of the day, like we're mainly writing about like freedom and human rights and uh,
That's impressive. Yeah, that's
the
what
abolish,
music.
trying try to live harmoniously and abolish oppression. Basically,
Yeah,
is what we're talking
and
about.
I mean, you joined the band after, but if we could say, like, seeing, like, in as your, of course, always in your opinion about the first album, Retaliate, right? What could you say about it? I mean, just like you were a reviewer, for example.
You're talking about Retaliate.
Yeah, Retaliate. Sorry.
That was on Nuclear Blast. Let's see. I wasn't on that album. I actually I
In your
started.
opinion, just like, of course, I think you played some song of that album, some live. So
Yeah. Um. I thought I thought that the initial EP Overthrow was maybe a stronger effort in terms of concise songwriting. But the record is like as a whole is a pretty solid statement on like what the band
sure.
was at that time, and I felt like they achieved what they set out to do. And
Yeah.
but I find myself like when I listen to the record, like I, it's some of it just kind of like it doesn't stick in your brain as well as it should.
Yeah.
There's like some really good riffs on there, like the opening riff of Servants of Progress, the opening riff of the first track, like the song Retaliate. You know, Angst ist die Seele auf. You know, it's got its own kind of vibe the whole way, but you know, you could tell they were still like developing their songwriting at that time.
Yeah.
And so kind of like it doesn't have the earworm effect where it's sticking in your brain. But
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, of course, as I said before, you joined the band later. I won't, just speaking album per album because maybe you were in that album. I will just ask you, since when you joined the band and you released the album, did you notice some difference in the songwriting along that?
Between when I wasn't in the band and when I joined?
Yeah, until now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because I mean, since I joined the band, like I've been, I'll write like 4 and 5 songs on the album. So obviously that's a new dude,
Yeah.
That's and we write together as a band. Like we have our own process and stuff, and everyone has like their songs where they were sort of like the dominant force, in coming up with it. But it's for the most collective. So yeah, when Adam and I like come into the picture, then yeah, you do hear like things change a bit, So which was like, you go from Retaliate to Discordia to Traitors. It's like I think Discordia is like a really good transitional thing where we were trying to embody the sound of the band, he and I.
Yeah, because if I'm not wrong, just like there was 2 years of release between Discordia and Traitors.
Yeah. So like from Retaliate to Discordia, like I thought we did a good job of making a transitional album and kind of easing the band more into what he and I are into,
Yeah.
Adam and I, it just joined, so we created that album with everybody else, and then and we had like half the song. He and I, like for the most part, wrote like half of. Of course, Jason's like putting his vocals on it, and there's the review process. Like I said, everyone's involved, but dominantly there's 5 songs on that album that he and I wrote, and we were kind of easing the band's style into something that was more like us. And it only took us an album to do it. So you hear Retaliate, and then Discordia is a transitional thing, and then Traitors is like a pretty good embodiment of like the kind of stuff that we're collectively into. Yeah.
So just for ending, about speaking of the album, I want to focus now on the last one, Ritual of Hours.
Yeah.
Let's speak about this album. What could you tell about that? The songwriting, the inspiration, the topic?
Yeah, I mean, it was really intentional. record. Like we definitely set out to write a collection of songs that embodied us moving forward, and also everywhere we had been up at that point. Because on the Killing Gods, we sort of took this like path.
Yeah, sure.
We took a side path, I guess, and we tried to do something very epic and with a broad story, with the Faust story, using that as sort of like an allegory, I guess, for modern existence here, rather than like doing like the more direct speech that we had done in the past. We used that as across like 5 songs, and so moving that to power, we felt like we needed to throttle back on that.
That's great.
And like get back to, we don't want to go so far outside the box that we're losing people. Like, so we wanted to like make sure we were doing our own sound. We have plenty of stuff going on that is our own sound that we don't need 100% experiment all the time.
Yes. So in fact, now it's time to speak a little bit about influences. First of all, I wanted to ask about Misery Index music influences, if they have it.
Influences?
Yeah.
Like who we listen to, or?
Yes, like, maybe if there is some band from the past, the present, that could influence the sound of the band, or inspire to.
I mean, obviously, you got like Asuk and Napalm Death is huge influence, obviously. Yeah. We've been accused of maybe being a Napalm Death junior, but I wouldn't take it that far. We got some other stuff going on, as do they. Well, it's almost a totally different vibe, but cut of the same cloth, we'll say. And but yeah, we actually, we toured with like I Hate God too. They've been an influence on us, surprisingly. Like you wouldn't think, because the styles are so different. But I've been listening to that band since I was like, I want to say 13, 14 years old, something like that. So
yeah,
those were kind of influences on us. I was always a big Vision of Disorder fan. The Green Drop album, Imprint. I still think those are some heavy ass records at this point. I always respected, I am a Pantera fan. I am a Metallica fan.
Yeah, we are going over there. We're going to that question.
When I was a kid, those were definitely like the 2 bands. But like, I was like skateboarding back in the day, and like, so I was in with these cats like skateboarding, and they
were great Bay Area metal.
And one of my skateboarding buddies was like, I like metal, but some of it I don't like the quote white trash attitude. So he was like, he introduced me to like, which I don't 100% agree with, but he did introduce me to like the Victory Records bands of the time, and maybe they weren't all in Victory, but like the post-hardcore bands like Quicksand, Snapcase, Earth Crisis, that kind of VOD obviously, and that's also been an influence, where it's like, oh, you can do these like other things, these like dissonant sort of guitar things, and like tying in punk and and hardcore, and like these and beat down sort of breakdowns and stuff like that. Not that we do a whole hell lot of that, but it's, if we do a breakdown of sorts, it's sort of in that.
Sure. I mean, you speak already about your personal influences, but I would just change the questions instead and saying, since you're a guitarist, which are your influences? Speaking about guitarist, if you have some, I don't know, some guitarist that influences your way of composing, for example.
While I'm composing, I don't know.
If there is, just some favorite guitarist you have, you admire, I don't know, just.
I mean, there's so many good players out there, man. I mean, I think everyone that's doing it professionally has got their own like thing, their own voice going on, which is really Jeff Loomis and those kind of cats, and Tosin Abasi, amazing, doing stuff that I can't even do, and and if I'm going way back, I really appreciate Dimebag Darrell and James Hetfield and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that's apparent with the amount of down picking that we do. That
yeah, for sure.
Definitely on the Metallica bandwagon, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't particularly idolize any particular players at this stage in the game, but I do appreciate Isan, having done Emperor and doing his solo thing. I really appreciate the vast array of music he's coming out with.
It's true.
And that's a different style for me, of course. So
sure, completely. So now it's something that we are switching off the role. You are a festival organizer. Okay, so you could choose the country and which lineup bring to the stage.
Yeah.
What will it, how it will be?
How it will be? Well, shoot. It would probably be exactly like Brutal Assault.
That's fucking amazing.
Tomas Biak, dude, he's and it's that place is in Prague or outside of Prague. I can't remember exactly, but it's got that battalion or whatever.
Yeah, it's close.
That beautiful atmosphere, and inside these big walls, and everyone's kind of in there.
Yeah.
And it's got a good mix of the bigger, not quite mainstream, but the bigger kind of stuff mixed with death metal and some. It's a good mix of stuff. Is what I'm saying. It's a good broad mix, and I appreciate a lot of different varieties and voices and stuff like that. So it's not it's not like 48 hours of just straight blast beats or something, some other stuff in there. But I also appreciate, obviously, Obscene Extreme. I think they're doing a great job there. A good mix of stuff, and more trending on the the punk vibe and that kind of thing, but still having bands like Cannibal Corpse play, and and we've played there a bunch of times, and the vibe there is really cool. So having where the crowd's there's no security in the crowd, just
it's nice. It's you are in touch with the fan. Yeah. I know that exactly the feelings of that.
And simple.
Since you were speaking about a festival, and of course you toured, you've been in touring, you've been in festival. There is some particular moment or that you remember mostly that could be funny or just a beautiful moment of touring or being in some festival that stayed with you until today?
Sure.
I have to laugh before.
Let's see here. I had just joined the band. It was 2005, and it was my very first tour, and it was with Suffocation and Behemoth in the United States. We're going up the East Coast into Canada, and we have a friend up there who did a record label and is a booking agent. His name's Eric Galley.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice dude. Everybody knows him up there, and we weren't making anything. We weren't any money on that tour. It was the very first one I was in. I mean, we were living off merch, and I just remember we couldn't afford a hotel. And,
oh my god!
We drove at night, and we crossed the Canadian border. We got across that. We made that the excuse to drive overnight from New York. I think we played at BB King's the night before. I think that's how it was. And then we get across that border, and we're we're in Montreal. The river's frozen. There's snow everywhere. We're sitting out in Eric Galley's apartment. It's 5 a.m. I think he was going to wake up at 6:45 or something, or something like that. And we were just waiting outside his place for him to wake up and let us in the
Oh
park.
my god. Freezing outside,
I just
basically.
remember it was like 0 degrees, and I'm laying.
Oh god.
We had a big blue van that we put all our stuff and ourselves in. There was one bench seat and like a mat on the floor. And I just remember laying down in that van, and I remember like the door. I could see like this little crack in the door that went outside. And I'm just laying there. I'm trying to sleep, but it's cold as shit. And I'm like looking out this like little hole, this little crease in the door with 0 degree wind. It kept blowing like straight in my eye.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Which had to have been the longest hour and a half of my life.
Oh my god!
And I just want to say that any of you bands out there that are trying to make it, prepared.
Yeah,
you're gonna find yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Big van, staring, 0 degree temperature, wind blowing, freezing your eyeball out, and making no money for at least a few years, playing 200 shows a year.
It's incredible. And just before ending, of course, the questions that everybody wants to know is the future plans of Misery Index. Of course, we both know the situation right now, but just move forward this situation. Which are the future plans?
Well, the future plans are we have several tours and tour offers sitting on the shelf.
Great.
We're just planning, and you plan to and you have a backup plan for this kind of stuff for when things inevitably reschedule because of government regulations of the virus.
Yeah.
So, but once the vaccine comes out, all those government regulations are kind of going to go away, and so we're looking at stuff for next year, and if it doesn't happen in the spring, it'll happen in the fall. So
I
don't think it'll go past winter next year.
Yeah, I think it will be more next summer, 2021. There will be a mass of festival gigs. It will be a confusion. I don't know how many people will just go straight to the gigs and festivals.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, because festival season's 7-8 months away.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens between now and then. I mean, it's right now it's scheduled, so we'll see what happens. We're here at some of those things like Hellfest and things like that.
Yeah.
And as far as the future goes, right now we're just writing this record for Century Media. And
that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I've been in touch with Century Media too. It's a good label. Yeah, it's great. And there is a chance that I could see again at Summer Breeze.
What's that? Summer Breeze?
Yeah, you will go there someday again.
Yeah, I mean, when they invite us back, we'll be there.
I will try to speak with them. I will convince them.
Yeah, put a little bird.
Because as far as I remember, it was a fun show.
Yeah.
You were on the T stage, right? If I remember. It was the one on the left.
Yes.
The huge one, because there were the small one, the main stage, and the T stage. There was the middle big.
Something like that. I know it was on the main ground.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the T stage because the one was the camel stage. It was really small with the tent.
Yeah.
And you were in the other, if I remember very well. Yeah.
You were in the tent. Yeah, it was that one, whatever they call it.
There was a fucking amazing festival because it was 20 years of Summer Breeze. So it was a lot of people, a lot of stuff happening going there, but it was fun. So we are at the end. If you want to just leave a message to Misery Index fan and our followers.
Yeah, listen to Misery Index. I don't know. Please do. We're making a new album, and I hope you like it. I hope you like the last one. And do that.
So I hope to see you soon again in another gigs, maybe, I don't know, in another festival, whatever. And I'll send you the picture I made. So thank you, Mark, for being with us and for the patience, for everything. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
stay safe, and see you soon then.
Yeah, see you
Bye.
soon.
You can't refuse what the old man whispered to the preacher during the sermon. He's a saint to the fools of the old land, but we can see straight through the tricks that he is turning. He'll speak, but you gotta believe